Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for update 86 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we've got a whole bunch of different toys in a couple categories, as well as some system improvements. So let's jump right in. The first thing I've got for you is a bit of a redo of about as classic of an item as exists in the game, and that is the Graviton Beamer. I made this back before H3 even had a name. This was basically like week 2 of me playing with my Vive and physics objects in Unity, and that definitely meant that this was not coded well. That's why it's been sitting in the warehouse range this whole time, is because the way it interacted with physics was likely to break systems that existed in other scenes. And so I finally went back and decided to give it another go from scratch code-wise. Tweaked a few things, gave it a foregrip here, altered its behavior a bit, but I think it's a lot more fun to play with. So let's start out with that. Got to flip all of our switches, get that capacitor charging. The way the forward lever works now is that this is a mode switch. When it is forward, this basically acts as a sort of radius shunt. So at 1911 on the ground, we can just give it a big push like so. Let's see if we can time this right. Bye! Ooh, right over there. But the way that you're going to be wanting to use this a whole lot more is much more. Hey, does anyone need a spare mag?
Yeah, shoot.
Sorry, I threw that a little too hard. So yeah, this let's spawn some more things. I actually love spawning a spawn lockable throwable melee weapon and just using the Graviton Beamer here to throw it. So pull this out of my quick belt, throw it up in the air, grab it with the beamer, aim and fire. Woo-hoo-hoo. His head must already been damaged. Let's see if we can getting better at this.
Oh, shit.
I hit the helmet. Let's get a little bit closer. Terrible. Closer still.
Yeah, shoot.
Third try's a charm. This one,
Well, this is expected.
we won't even take any chances. We'll just go all the way up. Stab him like that.
Is this how you break up with people?
And fling away. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Turn it.
Whap.
Out here. I'll get you next time.
Sure you will, buddy. Sure you will.
I'm gonna take my 15 minutes now.
So you might be like, oh wow, those are some lines I haven't heard. In the process of working on this thing, I found so many bugs that I fixed. One of them related to the way that SOSIGs take collision damage. So just as an example, if I just pull back out another 1911, you will notice I sort of briefly accidentally fixed this a while back, but it's now way easier to actually pistol whip them to momentarily stun them
Oh, dear.
and knock them down
Oh, come on.
as it should be.
Even.
They won't stay down very long, but this is now actually an emergency measure with an object instead of basically just causing them to wobble. Haha! So yeah, whack. You will note that once they are actually dead, you can also pick up their bodies and throw those.
Even.
Whack. Ooh, I think that might have broken something. So yeah, actually, there are a bunch of things that are just way too much fun to fling with this. One of my personal ones is actually just grabbing a medieval shield, because this does blade edge damage.
Yeah, rip my heart out, why don't you?
And so you can absolutely sever with it. Come on. You're gonna let me... Oh, that was bugged out for some reason. I'll figure out why. Whap. Wonderful. So that is the Graviton Beamer. I'm sure all of you will come up with plenty of hilarious and macabre things to do with it. Moving right along, though, let's jump over to what I bet a bunch of you clicked on this video for, which is our new Meat Fortress toys. I have finally filled out the Spy's utility equipment, along with a bunch of extra special goodies that, in a sense, are a preview of what long-term, like over the course of the next year or whatever, that I would like to do to most, if not all, of the class's kit, which is to add a few sort of alternate objects that widen the battlefield role of the class. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, and I'm going to grab, what's this alternate looking revolver over here? This is Le Petit Liaison, which is our, I'm going to put a suppressor on it, which is our pocket hammerless version of the revolver, which, as you can see, has a laser built in. The basic idea behind this is that this would be a sort of backup revolver. It's a good deal less powerful per hit, but its recoil is more controllable, and it's got the laser. So it's a fantastic weapon to draw fast and hip fire with, even if it's not going to be your primary damage dealer. We also have the first of what is going to be a set of Meat Fortress grenades. I'd eventually love to get one in for each character class, but to start, we've got a smoke for the Spy, because that just felt like it would be the most appropriate. So, let us play with our new Spy kit a little bit. I'm going to spawn a demonstration turret, make sure my IFF is set to be enemy of bots, and spawn ourselves a turret. Boom! Like so. So now if I try to run past this and get behind that wall, it will start firing at me. So now I need to deal with that turret. I can pull out my cloaking watch, pull the trigger, and engage my cloak. And run past it. Pelvic thrusting at the turret. Oh, I should get out of here. There we go. Watch is back. Now, the limitation on the cloaking watch is that you cannot hold any other object while cloaked. If you cloak while holding another object or pick up another object while cloaked, you will short the watch. You'll instantly decloak, and you will short the watch out for 10 seconds, like this. Cloak goes away, watch shorts out. You gotta wait about 10 seconds for that to reset. And so, however, you can learn to time things really well. So if you're cloaked, and then start decloaking, you can immediately pull a weapon out and recloak. So it's designed to be something that privileges you getting good at timing things. To go with that, our sapping device works. I basically implemented this really close to the way it works in Meet the Spy, which is that instead of being something that you place on a turret, it's an area of effect EMP. So if I want to get by or destroy this turret, I can engage it, throw it along the ground, and come up here and blow up said turret. Boop. Like so. I tweaked all the sort of physics parameters for it to try to get it to slide just like it does in the Meet the Spy video. I'm quite pleased with it. Still a little too slidey, but I'd rather err on that than too little. So, makes it really fun to use. Wonderful. So, to go with this, lastly, we have something special, which, as I said, I want to bring this sort of thing to every one of, to basically one weapon in each of the classes, which is alternate ammunitions. That because of the fact that this is, this is TF2, it's cartoon logic, I feel free to experiment a little wider conceptually with ammo types. So the first one is called Retort. Let's give ourselves another testing turret here. And Retort is basically sapper in a bullet. It's only a couple seconds of it, and it's a pretty narrow FOV, so you can't just be, can't be shooting that back wall. But you can drop it like that. Ah! However, be careful, because by glitching out its targeting system, you might get it to turn around and look at where you were. So that can backfire on you. But great way to momentarily suppress a turret. Gotta blow up that one for our next demonstration. There we go. There we go. Wonderful. Our next ammo type is called Salute. And Salute is sort of a blind stun round, but it doesn't actually do any damage. Momentarily stuns, knocks over, very short blindness period. Really, really great if you're like, oh gosh, there's a bunch of guys right there. But still, you still have to be somewhat accurate with it. And then the last one, I am actually going to need another device to demonstrate. I'm going to need to pull out our metagun, because this last one is called Debuff. And what Debuff is essentially an Uber Breaker round. It does more than that. It strips off a number of positive debuffs. If the Sosic is currently regenerating, if it's invulnerable, and I'm pretty sure if it is cloaked. I need to double check that that's actually working. So if I Uber this Sosic, boom, I can debuff it like so. And you'll notice with those, there we go. Get that out of there. You'll notice the arrows pointing down them for like a second or two. For that second or two, those Sosigs are way more vulnerable to damage. So it's one of those, it's a round that really is oriented towards sort of blitz first striking against an enemy. Coming out of cloak, or coming around a corner, or coming out of smoke, debuffing an Ubered group, and either with another revolver or with your balisong, just going to work on them while you have weakened them. So there you have it. But you'll notice the projectile travels slowly and has quite an arc to it. So this is not a long-range ammo type. You've actually got to be up close to use it well. So there you go. And then lastly, I want to show you a feature that is relevant to everyone who uses revolvers in H3, which is that our speed loaders now behave way more like magazines in terms of extended functionality. I can click up on the touchpad or joystick and empty my speed loader. I can pick up rounds like so and poke them in from the back to load it. If you're having trouble with controller geometry, just drop it into a quick belt slot to finish loading. So what this definitely allows you to do is, we go like that, oops, is to create some alternate loading patterns that are super useful. So if you say in one revolver wanted to make use of the debuff shell but still do some damage, you could stagger load, whoops, I'm dropping stuff today, stagger load debuff and the standard shell, which actually makes this way more useful for getting through some of the tougher Meat Fortress Sosigs, like the Heavy and the Pyro and the Demo, that resist damage a good deal, especially on the torso. Putting a debuff round into them in between each shot ensures that, that you can tear them down even with a lighter weapon platform like this. So just got to prepare. So that just about does it for the new toys. Let's jump out of VR and talk about the other changes that are in this week's episode. Yo! So, we're out of VR now. So the other changes, I actually forgot to show you folks something, but I've actually had to record this devlog twice just because of the fact that something screwed up where a window was partially covering my recording area. Thanks, Steam VR. So yeah, I forgot to show you folks something. Basically, NG Sosigs in Meat Fortress now spawn these cute little turrets. You'll just have to jump in and play with them yourself to see that. And I'm sure I'll show it off in the future in these devlogs. Other changes. As I said, collision, sort of stun, and confusion thresholds for all non-Rotwiener Sosigs have been changed. I hope it's not too easy now to sort of like perma-disable them via collision damage, but a lot of you really wanted sort of butt striking and pistol whipping back in and to actually be effective instead of them just wobbling in your face, and so I've erred on the side of making that a little powerful just to see how folks feel it feels in taking hold and such. In terms of big bug fixes, as I said, there were a bunch of bugs in basically the Sosig vocal code. I didn't actually realize it until I was testing stuff this week, and someone had posted a video of all of the Meat Fortress vocal lines, and a couple people had commented like, "Yo, I haven't heard a bunch of these. What's up with this?" And I went, "Oh no, a bunch of the hard work that we all did isn't playing." And so I fixed just a ton of bugs related to Sosig speech. So for the standard ones, you should actually hear their non-generic sort of death shouts were playing, like ones related to being torn apart or having their neck broken or something like that, but they're just completely generic ones weren't. I don't know why I never noticed that. They are now. I changed it so that if the Sosig head link is blown apart, it will stop their speech if they're currently speeching, and it won't play speech if their head pops, just so that you're not getting vocal cues that are no longer relevant when you're playing. And you will actually hear their reload shouts now in combat. So, whoops! And I fixed a bunch of ones, like there's a bunch of special lines in Meat Fortress for when a Sosig is getting healed from a medic. It's basically the class and the medic have a bit of back and forth. That will now actually play correctly as well. I fixed the issue where there was pretty common where very commonly you would sort of down a Sosig and they would start their bleed out, and they would basically come out of stun and into an investigate state, go, huh, and then die all the time. That should no longer happen, I think. Pretty certain that's the case. And just fixed a bunch of sort of prioritization and distance play issues for that. Fix some small sorted stuff. 5 Cosmos can now A button snap turn if you set that to be enabled. Fix the hometown power up in Rotwieners. Yeah, that's and a couple other little things. So, anywho, I hope you folks enjoy the new toys. It has been fun to work on some Meat Fortress toys. Again, it's one of those things that, like, the art style allows you to, as a 3D modeler, to sort of kit bash and jam so much easier. Like, if I were to try to do the modification that I did to the Spy's revolver to make the different, to snub and make the different form factor and tweak the proportions of the revolver the way I did here on any sort of like modern realistic model, because it has like a normal map and things like that, it would not work. It would look terrible. But every time I play with the TF2 assets, it's always this reminder of like I think there might be something we've lost in a workflow, being able to, I don't know, it was a geometric aesthetic style that promoted playful creation. And so I always love dipping my toes back into it for a bit. Anywho, hope you enjoy the new stuff. As always, let me know if there are any bugs. Report them in the bug report section of the Steam forum. And I will see you folks all next week. Peace.